Good day, mates, welcome back. So this is the second part of Andy's Hobby HQ 116 Tiger1, and I've done quite a bit, well, I say quite a bit off camera, because it's very time consuming, i.e. the wheels, the road wheels, cutting them off, cleaning them up, gluing the two parts of each wheel together, sanding it, priming it, you know the deal. And also yesterday I spent, I don't know how long, maybe hour and a half, maybe 2 hours, I don't know, but I was sitting downstairs and I cut all the track links off, I cut all the track pins off, and I cut all the trees of the row of 10 on each tree of the guide horns. Now, some people might not know, you got the track, they go together beautifully, you got the track pin, slots in nicely. I've done 2 runs of 10, which I'll show you in a minute. 1 track pin snapped. They're pretty flexible, they bend quite a bit, but obviously not as much as I was trying to bend it. So it snapped off. Luckily it had gone right through the whole link, so there wasn't a flappy end at one end, but anyway, the bolt head end snapped off and it's gone into the abyss, of course. Yeah, what I was saying is each link has to have the 2 guide horns stuck on separately. Now, if anybody has followed me on this channel or seen me posting on the various Facebook groups that I'm on about how much I hate all that malarkey. In fact, I've got the Meng Sherman M4A3 that I've started for a group build, and let me tell you, no, I am not going to use the kit tracks, because I'm not going to sit there and cut thousands of track links, thousands of track pads off, thousands of guide horns and thousands of other little bits that have to be stuck on. I'm not doing it, I'm sorry, it's rubbish. So I've bought aftermarket 3D printed resin tracks and I'm just waiting for them to arrive. Anyway, back to the job at hand. Let's have a little looky at what I've done so far. So this is the start of what I've done. These are the road wheels. There you can see them in all their glory. I'll leave that blue tack on because I'm going to put them on kebab sticks again. So they've been primed. So there's 2 pieces to each road wheel. They've been primed with Mr. Surfacer 1500 grey, R4, R2. Those are the 2 parts that you glue together and you end up with a C. Same on there, N2, N4, that ends up as an A. So they're in there, and I've got, here's some I prepared earlier, the rest of them actually in the lower hole, and here they are, all done, all ready to rock and roll. Now, they're an N9 and an N7, they haven't got a number, a letter, yep. That's N8 and N6, and they end up as a B. That's M1 and M3. Again, that hasn't got a letter. So it's marked off on the instructions where they all have to go anyway. So I won't tip that up because you know what'll happen, but I've primed all under there, under the lower hole, with the same Mr. Surfacer 1500. You can see the difference in colour between that and that. Right, so that's done, and let me tell you, that took a fair old while. Now then, if you think that doing the wheels is going to be purgatory, wait till you get to doing the tracks, my friends. Quick slurp of coffee. Now then, what you get is, on sprues, are these. These are your tracks, all been cut off. I've not cleaned any single bit of them. There's a few that had a big bit of leftover when I cut them off, but I'm not going to sit and clean every single one of them. I'm sorry, because it's not going to be seen. So these are your tracks. You have to cut them off the sprues. There's loads of them. I think there's 96 tracks per side, plus if you're going to put tracks on the side of the turret, there'll be those as well, another 10 maybe. So that's your tracks. They're nice looking, they're dead light. That's the whole lot in there. Okay, what's the problem then, John? I hear you say. Well, not only, but also you have to cut these off. They're your separate guide horns, which, I mean, in this day and age, they should be moulded as one, in my humble opinion. And these are your track pins. And there you can see that was the bolt head end that I snapped off one of them. But they're pretty flexible. But obviously I just pushed it too hard. So you've got to cut all those off. Those are fixed end to end like that. And those are fixed 1, 2, 3 on the sprue. So you just cut them off. Right. Why have you left all the guide horns on that bar, John? I hear you say. Well, funny you should say that. Let's have a look at one of these tracks in depth. I'll just get you down a bit. Right, if you have a look at this track, it's nice. It's got some sort of number in that little thing. I've no idea what it is. Nobody's going to see it. If you turn it over, see those teeny tiny holes there and there? That's where your guide horns get glued in. Nice looking thing. No flash. I was doing those yesterday evening, all that cutting malarkey, and by the time I finished, it was dinner time. By the time I'd done that, blah 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 blah. Anyway, I came upstairs to go to bed eventually about 11 o'clock. I thought, do you know what, I'm going to have a little go and try and do a run. So the deal is, that's the first run I made. A run of 10. But why is there so much glue splattered all over it, John, that I can see shining? I hear you say. Well, what happens is, you lay your tracks out one at a time and they go together nicely. Then you insert the pins. There you can see the snapped off one. No biggie. You insert the pins just with friction. There's no glue on any of those at all. And then what you do is you get your tree of 10 and they go down like that. You have to try and fit them in them tiny little holes and hold them while the glue takes. And then when the glue's set, you have to cut that tree off. Well, this is the one I did last night, and I just used this extra thin stuff, Plastic Magic. But what's happened is, where I was just holding the bar on like that and then running the brush glue down there, it's obviously leaked into the tracks, and there's a couple there that are a bit reluctant to move. And also you can see these are still, even after all these hours, they're still wobbly. A couple there. So I've lost one fell out, that's gone into the ether. But these are still, some of them are still quite wobbly. That one, look. So I don't think it's a very good way of doing it personally. That one's wobbly. So back to the extra thin. So I cut the bar off last night, wasn't very happy with it, left it. Moving on to today's effort, which I did earlier on this morning, and instead of using the Plastic Magic, I've used this. And all I did was dab, 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 dab on the ends, and then I held it on, and this seems to be a lot much firmer. So for me, that's going to be the way to go. Now you've just got to cut the bar off and hope that they all stay on. Now I would recommend cutting the bar over your table, because I sat back last night and was doing it sort of on my fat belly, and of course as soon as something pings off, it just goes straight on the floor. So that's my 2 cents. Slurp of coffee. So what I'm going to attempt to do now is cut off that bar and that bar. These are so solid, I'm well pleased with that, because I was going to kick these tracks into touch. Here we go, wish me luck. Now, it was a bit fiddly trying to find the best way of getting in with the cutters, but they're not attached very much. You don't have to do a huge He-Man type cutting. It's almost like a resin support. It cuts off nice and easily. So I've done that way. Now I'll do this way. I'm really pleased with the stability of the guide horns with that Revel contactor, because when I was doing this yesterday with the extra fin, they were wobbling about all over the place. There you go. As you run a tent, they're all on there nicely. No wobbly dobblies. So I'll do the other side, and we'll come back and show you what's occurring. Alright, there we are with both the bars taken off. You can see they're movable. All the guide horns are still on there. Now what I will say, when you put the tracks together, is once I put all the pins in, and I got this metal ruler and just pushed them down, because I found when I first tried to put the guide-ons on, a couple of them weren't dead flat on the table here, and I couldn't get the guide-ons to go on. And also, when you do the last link, you have to manually sort of tilt that up, because it's on the end, it's got a tendency to flop down. So because the guide-ons are still attached to that bar, obviously you can't tilt the guide-on down, so you have to tilt the end link up to the guide-on and then just hold it until the glue holds. Now that's there. If I do a comparison of the Hobby Boss 116 Tiger, which I've got behind me, these are the tracks. I think these are beautiful. All the guide-ons were moulded on. All the links were separate in a bag. All you had to do was tip the bag out, join them up, put the metal pins in, and Bob's your mum's brother. Now that Hobby Boss kit cost me £65 for the whole thing. And I don't need to tell you how much this Andy's Hobby Headquarters one has cost. So I'll see how I go with these. I'll carry on with these, see how I go, but if I get any major problems, I'm just going to put these on. I'm not fussed, because I think these are brilliant. Anyway, there you go. That's just me. So those bars can be tossed, and that's your run of 10, and then you'll get your other run of 10, join it up like that, make sure it's all nice and flat so you can get the pin in no problem. Get one of the said pins. This is that. There's the bolt end. Bolt end, bolt end, bolt end. Stick it in. Push it through. Get the last little bit with this, and there you go. That's 20 links, and you can see the first one I've done where I smeared all the extra thin on. It's not moving very well, but the other bit where I used the contactor is moving nicely, and these are still wobbly after all that time. I can't believe it. I'm not happy with it. I think that's a rubbish way of doing it, but it is what it is. They are what they are, and we'll just have to crack on with it. Any cleaning up of any guide-ons you need to do, just run your knife down the edge of it like that. No mess, no fuss. If they're stuck in with a contactor, they're going to hold. But this side, where it was the extra thin, I'll be a bit wary. Right, so what I'll do now is just put a quick run together, and then that'll do me for today. So you just literally, all you're doing is that. What I did, put a whole run of 10 first of all on the desk, but then I thought, you know, why not just, so I thought, why not just put it together in your hand, no mess, no fuss, push it in, use whatever implement you want just to seat it, and we're away. Next one goes like that. Track pin in the hole. See, that one's a little bit tighter than the first one. Just wiggle it around, it will go in. But will it? Yes, it will. There you go. Seed it in. We're done. Track pin. That one's busted. See that? See how easy that one broke? I'll tell you what, this would try the patience of a saint. So what I'm going to do is stick that in like that. There you go. And that's for all intents and purposes. I'll do one more just to show you. Now if you see, there's quite a little nib left on the end of that, so I'll just cut them off just with my knife. And that's about all the cleaning up I'm prepared to do on these. By all means, please, if you want to do it, I'm sure there's some people that will fill and sand all those ejector pin marks, and if that's your thing, then I applaud you, but it's not mine. I'm flew in. Right, I'll get the rest of these done and then we'll have a look at putting the guide-ons on. Now we've got our next run of 10. Use the steel ruler just to get them, make sure they're completely flat. Get our 2 trees of guide-ons. There you go. And what I'm going to do is just dab cement on the end. This is why I like this glue. It's strong, and that little applicator on the end. So there's the 10 done. Line them up with the first holes. Hold it on there for a few seconds. There you go. That's your 10. And then just check that end link, because I've flattened it so much. You can see how it comes apart easily, mate. So I won't move that anymore because the glue's not old. Right, and also don't forget you not only but also you've got to make sure they're standing up straight. I mean, I don't know how important it is until I try to get the wheels on, but I would imagine there is a bit of tolerance for a wibbly wobbly guide-on. Just make sure, get a close up, they look all to be all on. Apart from that one at the end there, that's not on. Give that another press, that's on now. Right, so we just get to dabbing again. All the way along. I don't think there's any particular way you're supposed to put it round. Get the first 2 lined up. Hold them on. Push it down, make sure they're seated in them little holes. Make sure they're standing up straight. That's not standing up straight. Just have a little look down at ground level. Just make sure they're all on. I think they are. I think that little chap there, this needs a little extra press. Right, I'm happy with that. So I'm going to put that to one side, let that dry, cut it off, and then that's ready to attach to the run we've done already. So, wasn't that fun, boys and girls? It's going to be a long old process to get them done, but hopefully everything goes out all right. I hope you've picked up a couple of little tips if you didn't know them already. Save you a bit of time. So I'm going to go downstairs and what's the time? Can't even see the clock. It's 8:33 a.m. So I'm going to go down, have a little bit of breakfast, and hopefully come up and crack on with it a bit later. So catch you later, dudes. Thank you for watching. Take care, model on, my friends. See you later.